Microsoft just did something almost unheard of. They admitted they were wrong. After years of forcing AI into every corner of Windows 11, plastering Copilot buttons across the operating system, and dismissing user complaints, the company is now quietly ripping it all out. In January 2026, Windows President Pavan Davuluri confessed that Windows 11 had gone off track. Copilot integrations are being stripped from core apps, controversial features are being reworked or scrapped entirely, and Microsoft is scrambling to undo years of decisions that alienated millions of users. This isn't just about an annoying AI assistant. It's about surveillance, security disasters, and a backlash so intense it forced one of the world's most powerful tech companies to reverse course. Here's what really happened and why you need to know about it right now. When Microsoft launched Copilot for Windows 11 in 2023, the pitch was compelling: an AI assistant built directly into the operating system, ready to help you write emails, summarize documents, search your files, and answer questions without leaving your workflow. The company marketed it as the future of personal computing, your digital companion that would make everyday tasks effortless. Copilot was designed to integrate across Windows 11's core applications. It appeared in Notepad to help you draft text, in Paint to generate images, and in File Explorer to organize documents. Microsoft added dedicated Copilot buttons across the interface and even introduced voice activation with "Hey Copilot." The company's vision was clear: Windows 11 would evolve into an agentic operating system, where AI could take actions on your behalf across apps and services. To make this work, Copilot needed access, lots of it. It required permissions to read your files, analyze your screen content, track your application usage, and communicate with Microsoft's cloud servers. Microsoft assured users this data would be handled responsibly and protected by existing Windows security features. But security researchers who examined Copilot discovered the line between helpful AI and invasive surveillance was thinner than Microsoft admitted. Copilot was embedded deep into the operating system, running continuously in the background. Technical analysis revealed that Copilot generates extensive telemetry data logs recording when you launch applications, what search queries you perform, which system settings you change, and detailed error reports capturing context about your activity. This telemetry infrastructure operates whether you actively use Copilot or not. Researchers found that even when users disabled optional diagnostic data and privacy settings, Windows 11 still transmitted what Microsoft classifies as required diagnostic data. This mandatory telemetry includes behavioral patterns, how you interact with applications, which features you use most frequently, and timing data used to build detailed usage profiles. Microsoft doesn't allow users on Windows 11, Home, or Pro editions to fully disable this telemetry. Kevin Beaumont, a cybersecurity expert who previously worked at Microsoft, conducted extensive testing and warned that the data collection architecture created what he called a security disaster. The fundamental problem wasn't just what Copilot collected, it was how that data was stored, protected, and how easily it could be accessed. You probably think that because your laptop stays in your home and you use strong passwords, your data is safe. But once data is collected and stored on your device, the threat doesn't just come from external hackers. It comes from malware running on your system with the same permissions you have, backup systems that archive everything without encryption, and physical access scenarios like device theft or forensic imaging during legal disputes. The security model collapses the moment someone or something gains access to your logged in. The United Kingdom's Information Commissioner's Office opened an investigation into Microsoft in May 2024, specifically targeting a feature called Recall. Recall was announced as a flagship capability for Copilot plus PCS devices with specialized neural processing units designed to run AI locally. The feature continuously captures screenshots of everything displayed on your screen every few seconds, then uses optical character recognition and AI to make your entire digital history searchable through natural language queries. Microsoft described it as giving users photographic memory for their computer. The ICO's concern was immediate. Organizations must be transparent about data use and only process personal data to the extent necessary. The regulator demanded Microsoft explain what safeguards existed to protect user privacy, particularly given that recall was designed to capture sensitive information including passwords, addresses, health data, and financial details without any filtering mechanism at announcement. Cybersecurity strategist Alex Hagena decided to test exactly how vulnerable recall's data was. He developed a proof of concept tool called Total Recall that demonstrated the feature's fundamental security flaw. Recall stored all captured screenshots and metadata in an unencrypted SQLite database, in plain text within the user's folder. Hagena's tool could locate this database, extract all data for any specified date range, and generate searchable summaries all in under 2 seconds. No administrative privileges were required. Any malware running on the system could copy the entire database and exfiltrate months or years of your digital activity without triggering security warnings. But the problem wasn't theoretical. Avram Pilch from Tom's Hardware conducted practical tests to see what recall actually captured. He opened Windows Notepad and typed a credit card number, complete with text labeling it as a Visa card. Recall captured it. He filled out a loan application PDF in Microsoft Edge, entering a social security number alongside his name and date of birth. Recall captured that too. Even after Microsoft added a filter-sensitive information setting enabled by default and designed to prevent the capture of credit cards, passwords, and social security numbers, the filter failed repeatedly. A separate test by the Register in July 2025 confirmed the same results. The filter was good, but not good enough. While it successfully blocked login credentials for a bank account, it captured screenshots of account balances and transaction details once the user was logged in. The filter's fundamental limitation is architectural. It attempts to identify sensitive data after it's already been displayed on screen, using pattern recognition. If the pattern doesn't match Microsoft's predefined templates, or if sensitive data appears in an unexpected format, the filter fails and the data is captured anyway. Privacy and digital rights organizations responded with alarm. In March 2025, the United States House of Representatives banned all congressional staff from using Microsoft Copilot. The reason cited was concern about data security and the potential risk of leaking House data to unauthorized cloud services. This was a branch of the federal government declaring Microsoft's AI assistant too risky for official use. The UK's ICO continued pressing Microsoft for transparency about how Recall complied with GDPR requirements, specifically the principles of data minimization and user consent. European data protection law requires that companies collect only the minimum amount of personal data necessary for a specific purpose, and that users must give informed, freely given consent. Recall's design capturing everything by default, storing it indefinitely unless manually deleted, and requiring users to actively discover and disable the feature, appeared to violate these principles. The NCC Group, a respected cybersecurity research firm, praised Microsoft's eventual addition of encryption and virtualization-based security containers for recall data, but flagged critical weaknesses in event logging. Even with improved encryption, there weren't adequate audit trails to detect when someone accessed recall data during a compromised user session. Imagine a journalist working on an investigation into government corruption. They communicate with confidential sources through encrypted messaging apps, but before those messages are encrypted and sent, they appear on screen as the journalist types them. Recall captures that moment. The source's identity, their testimony, the entire conversation thread, it's all stored in the recall database. If that journalist's laptop is seized during a legal raid, stolen from a hotel room, or compromised by targeted malware, every source they've ever contacted is exposed. Consider a person in an abusive relationship who is planning to leave. They search online for domestic violence shelters, legal aid services, and safe housing options. They save addresses, phone numbers, and appointment times in notes or emails. Recall logs every search, every address, every piece of evidence showing they're planning to escape. If their abuser gains access to the device even briefly, while it's unlocked, a simple tool can extract the entire recall database and reveal everything. Now think about a therapist or doctor using their personal Windows 11 laptop for work. Patient names, diagnoses, treatment notes, session summaries, all of this appears on screen during normal work. Under healthcare privacy regulations like HIPAA in the United States, this information has strict legal protection. but Recall doesn't distinguish between a casual web search and protected health information. It captures both equally. If that device is lost, stolen, or accessed during a routine IT service call, the breach could expose dozens or hundreds of patients and trigger massive legal liability. After months of escalating criticism, Microsoft announced changes in September 2024. Recall, which was originally going to launch in June 2024, was delayed repeatedly throughout 2025. The company committed to making Recall opt-in rather than enabled by default. It added encryption to the database so screenshots would no longer be stored in plain text. Microsoft implemented just-in-time decryption, meaning Recall snapshots would only be decrypted and accessible when the user authenticated with Windows Hello biometric security. The company moved the database into a virtualization-based security container, isolated from standard file system access. On paper, these changes addressed many of the initial criticisms, but security researchers continued testing, and what they found revealed the improvements weren't enough. The biometric requirement could be bypassed if a device didn't have a functioning fingerprint reader or camera for facial recognition. Windows allowed users to fall back to a simple PIN code. Your entire searchable history of everything you've ever done on your computer, protected by the same 4-digit code that secures a gym locker. The encryption was strong, but only when the system was locked. During an active user session when you're logged in and working, the data must be decrypted for Recall to function. That's the exact window when malware operates and when the data is most vulnerable. And as testing in 2025 demonstrated repeatedly, the sensitive information filter remained unreliable, creating a false sense of security while continuing to capture financial and personal data. By January 2026, the backlash reached a breaking point. In November 2025, when Windows President Pavan Davuluri tweeted about Windows evolving into an agentic OS, the response was thousands of overwhelmingly negative replies from users rejecting the entire vision. Microsoft had spent years placing Copilot buttons everywhere, even in applications where the AI integration felt forced, unnecessary, or poorly implemented. The company's AI-first strategy had soured its relationship with the Windows user base. On January 29, 2026, journalist Zach Bowden reported that Microsoft was conducting an internal reevaluation. The company was quietly stepping back from its AI-first approach. According to sources familiar with Microsoft's plans, several Copilot integrations were now under review. Features inside apps like Notepad and Paint could be removed, redesigned, or stripped of Copilot branding entirely. Microsoft had paused work on adding new Copilot buttons to system applications, and Recall was being reworked yet again, with the company reassessing whether the feature should exist in its current form at all. Davuluri publicly admitted that Windows 11 had gone off track. The company promised to refocus on fixing core Windows problems, performance issues, bugs, and fundamental user experience concerns that had been neglected while Microsoft chased its AI vision. There are actions you can take right now to reduce how much data Windows 11 and Copilot collect from your system. Start with your privacy settings, open the Settings app, go to Privacy and Security, then Diagnostics and Feedback. Change the diagnostic data setting from optional to required diagnostic data. This stops Windows from sending detailed telemetry about which apps you use, websites you visit, and extended error reports. You'll still send some required diagnostic data. Microsoft doesn't allow Home and Pro users to disable that completely, but this significantly reduces what's collected. Next, in the same Privacy and Security section, go to Inking and Typing Personalization, and disable Personal Inking and Typing Dictionary. This prevents Windows from learning your typing patterns and building a behavioral fingerprint. If you're on Windows 11 Pro or Enterprise, you have an advanced option. Open Group Policy Editor by searching for GPEDIT in the Start menu. Navigate to Computer Configuration, then Administrative Templates, then Windows Components, then Data Collection and Preview Builds, and set Allow Diagnostic Data to Disabled. This stops most telemetry entirely at the system level. For Copilot specifically, you can uninstall it if you're on a managed corporate device and your IT administrator enables the option. This capability was added to Windows 11 Insider builds in January 2026. For personal devices, go to Settings, Apps, Installed Apps, find Microsoft Copilot, And if the uninstall option is available, remove it. If not, you can at least disable it by going to Settings, Personalization, Taskbar, and turning off the Copilot button. If Recall is present on your device, disable it immediately, go to Settings, Privacy, and Security, Recall and Snapshots, and turn the feature completely off. Check that setting regularly because Windows updates have been known to re-enable features users previously disabled. Microsoft's rare public admission that Windows 11 went off track is more than just corporate messaging. It's proof that sustained user pushback, security research, and regulatory scrutiny can force even the biggest tech companies to change direction. If this investigation showed you something you didn't know about your operating system, hit that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on Microsoft's AI rollback. And if you want more deep investigations into how tech companies are reshaping your digital life, subscribe so you don't miss what we uncover next.